Sometimes I get sick of superhero stuff. All the ultra-powered escapades and mystical magic and cosmic conundrums are just too much. It makes me yearn for something with a smaller scope, something that's more grounded, something that's gritty. And recently, Netflix provided me with exactly what I was looking for. The Punisher is Marvel's newest installment to their Netflix-based universe that explores one of its more intense characters, and it isn't afraid to get its hands dirty. It's violent, it's brutal, it's dark, and it's a breath of fresh air to watch because it's a superhero show that isn't about a superhero. It's about an anti-hero with a strict moral code that drives him to end his enemies as gruesomely as he can. And the show is more than happy to let this character do what he does best. And today, I want to talk about why this makes The Punisher so fun to watch. And yes, potential spoilers ahead, as well as a content warning for graphic and violent imagery. The Punisher follows Frank Castle after he's finished his murderous crusade against all the criminals linked to the death of his family, and is trying to live a new life. However, after being contacted by a hacker named Micro, Frank finds out that his family's death was tied into a larger government conspiracy to take Frank down, and cover up the crimes of war he and his former squad mates committed. Armed with this knowledge, Frank starts a new campaign to hunt down every last man responsible for putting this operation together. For as action-packed as this synopsis and the marketing around the show make it seem, the series is much more of a slow burn thriller than anything else. It's far more interested in exploring the different ways various veterans live their lives after their war is over and how they cope with the trauma that follows them home. And though it fumbles a bit, the way it goes about exploring these themes makes it feel grounded. It's a show that I can take seriously. More so than, say, a show about a rich kid caught in a plane crash is raised by monks and returns home with mystical powers to reclaim his fortune while also fighting a ninja cult. Just saying. The sense of realism also extends to the show's action, which, to put simply, is brutal. People are beaten, bruised, and bloodied in ways that make you flinch and squirm in disgust. Bones are audibly broken and blood splatters everywhere. Even the gunfights are gruesome. This series uses its darker tone to show off some intense fights that haven't really been seen in Marvel's Netflix show since the first season of Daredevil, and, in my opinion, is a fantastic return to form that is all too oddly satisfying to watch. But of course, none of it would be worth it without the Punisher himself, who more often than not is the one doling out the aforementioned beatings. Frank is portrayed as a cold, calculated, and ruthless killing machine, easily dispensing of dozens of enemies without breaking a sweat. He also has a tactical eye, toying with David Lieberman at the start of the series after David first contacts him. But he often gets horribly injured in his fights. And over the course of the series, it seems like they've taken a toll on him. The show sets Frank up as a force to be reckoned with, but one that is still human. It manages to give Frank's bad attitude a sense of fragility that adds a layer of tension to the action. And this fragility isn't just limited to his physical abilities. It shows us how deeply the loss of his family has hurt Frank, and the way it haunts him. He gets emotional, freaking out whenever he fears that someone he cares about is going to be hurt, and even shedding a tear when he finds out that he's been betrayed. And the way he interacts with Lieberman's family is strangely wholesome. He helps fix things around the house, he's good with the kids, mostly, and he's friendly with Lieberman's wife, going so far as to be a support to her when she needs it. It gives him a strange sense of humanity that feels like it's at odds with his alter ego as the Punisher. He is both a family man who's troubled by the loss of his family and a trained soldier who carves his way through anyone who dares stand in his way. Frank is an interesting character whose development throughout the series constantly keeps you guessing which side of this dichotomy is eventually going to fall on. And while the other characters don't feel as complex, they're complicated enough to make the world feel well developed. But the show is not perfect. The dialogue often feels off, practically smacking the viewer over the head with how unsubtle it is. The subplots are lacking, for want of a better word. Madani's story feels like something from a generic cop show, and for as interesting as Luce's development is, it quickly devolves into madness toward the end. The series also tries to comment on a few political issues, and though I commend it for at least trying, it ends up just falling flat on its face. But my biggest critique is that the series was too long. The 13-episode structure is honestly unnecessary, to the point that it feels like there's a lot of stuff thrown in there just because. I think the show could have easily been wrapped up in 10 or maybe even 8 episodes. But I will say, it does at least manage to pay off those painfully slow build-ups. The Punisher, though flawed, is a brutal, gory, and dark series that I think is needed in the current superhero landscape. It gives us a grounded story with a complex anti-hero and a cast of fascinating characters that stands out in the already crowded superhero genre of film and TV. Because it's not about a hero. It's about a man with a lot of guns, a lot of anger, and a lot of bad guys to kill. He's not here to save the innocent. He's here to punish the wicked. And that's what makes this show so fun to watch. And yeah, those are my thoughts. I gotta say, rewatching the series was definitely a bit of a slog. I was trying to binge it the second time around, and I have to wonder if that messed with the pacing of the show. Since the first time I saw it, I was only watching an episode or two every other day. Maybe it's better to watch it that way. Rhyme not intended. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this and want to see more, then check out my last video where I talk about how the Ancient Magus Bride, Those Awaiting a Star, builds an emotional connection with its audience. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe to come fly with me. And hopefully, I'll see you later.